Hey guys, welcome to my channel Among Stouts. If you're new here, my name is Samantha and I have a video today to update you on all things in our homeschool. So I don't have a lot that has changed, but I'm excited to share this update with you nonetheless, so let's go ahead and get right started. The first thing that I wanted to talk about with you guys are a few things that are going really well for us in our homeschool. So the first thing would be math. I never thought that I would get on here and say this, but math has actually been going really well for all of my kids that are currently homeschooling. So if you are new here, I do have 5 kiddos, 3 that I am homeschooling, 1 that is he schools when he wants to, he's just in pre-K, and then I have a 9-month-old. So for my older 3, math is going really well. My oldest is doing Learn Math Fast, and we also sprinkle in a little bit of ACE Paces in there. If he needs more practice with certain types of problems, we'll get that from ACE. And that combination is just working really, really well for him. And so and he's in the 8th grade. My 6th grader is doing Life Pack. I have a full flip through review of Life Pack where I show you guys the inside of her 6th grade math with Life Pack. She's really enjoying that. She actually just finished her first booklet today by taking the test, which I have not looked over yet, but she's excited to finish the booklet, so she will be starting a new booklet tomorrow, which is really exciting for her. And then my 4th grader is doing Christian Light Education Math. I know that can sound kind of crazy doing all these different math programs, but one of the things that I've learned is I would much rather my kids all be in a different math program and whatever they're doing work really well for them than use one program for ease and have even just one kid struggling with it. So she has been enjoying, and it's working really well, Christian Light Education Math for her. So math, for once, is not a struggle point in our homeschool, at least right now. I hope it stays that way, but it's going really well. So secondly, I actually recently put out a video about reading, one book reading programs for kiddos, and I had Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons and then an Ordinary Guides to Teaching Reading. And my son and I have been doing actually more lessons in the Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. I thought that I would gear more towards the Ordinary Parent's Guide to Teaching Reading because of just some red flags that I saw with Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. But for the most part, we are working through those lessons. We going at his own pace, do them whenever he's not reluctant to do them. So I'm not sitting him down and saying we have to do a reading lesson or anything like that. Nothing forced, but doing it when he's ready, and we stop when he's ready to stop. And it's actually been working really well for us. So that is a good thing, because I wasn't sure that I was going to like it. Again, we're still in the very early lessons, so I don't know how it's going to be when we get to the harder lessons where there's more prompting and how they're teaching the reading with more visual prompts with the S tying into the H and just different things like that. So we'll see how it goes. And if we get to a point to where he's he hits a snag or something, we may do more lessons from the Ordinary Guide, from the Ordinary Parent's Guide to Teaching Reading. But for now, I'm using what's working, and it seems to be doing a good job. The other thing, we are absolutely loving our morning time classics from Gentle and Classical. We are still in the pioneering. They last 28 days. But we only school 4 days a week, and of those 4 days we aren't able to do morning time every morning currently, just because there's life happens, there's things that pop up, or I have to make sure my kids need to get the rest of their school done before we have to leave for, say, cross-country practice or piano. And so morning time is usually what gets taken off, and my kids will start their other work earlier to make sure they're done with their independent work. So we aren't done with it, but we are still really loving it. We have gotten through we're almost done. I think we just did day 13 today. So they have the Morning Classic Fantasy out, which I really wanted to purchase it when it first released because it was on sale. But I missed the sale, so I'm just going to go pay attention to where I'm at in my schedule and make sure that I order it and have the books that I need in time to start it on time right after we finish Pioneering. And the next one is Morning Time Classics Fantasy. I will have them both linked for you guys in the description below. We absolutely love Gentle and Classical. Really, really loving the Morning Time Classics. And again, if you're not new here, you know we love the preschool program as well. So let's see. Our Bible curriculum. I shared with you guys in our homeschool curriculum videos that we were going to be starting the Who Am I Bible curriculum, which is the volume 2 from the Bible series that is put out by Apologia. Last year we started Who is God, and we actually never finished that last school year, and so we worked on it throughout the summer, still didn't finish it, and we are finally at the last lesson. So we are so excited. It has been wonderful. The textbook isn't that big, and the lessons, there's only 10 lessons, but it is really, really rich, really deep. You can have lots of great conversations with the guidance of this book. And the Who is God Volume 1 has been wonderful. So even though it's taken us a really long time to get through it, I have absolutely loved the biblical truth and foundation of our faith and what it's laid for my kids, because of how deep it goes into what does it really mean to have a biblical worldview and to see everything through your biblical worldview lens, as well as who is God and why does God do these things, or why does God say these things. So it's been really, really good, and I am really looking forward to volume 2, which is all about identity. So yay, I'm excited. We're finished with that. Me and my kids were celebrating. Well, we're not finished, but we will be finished soon, and then ready to start the new one. So that is super exciting. The other thing that has been really exciting, but I'm also glad is finishing up, is cross country. If you guys have watched any of my videos, most of my videos this fall, the start of this school year, have been done in my car. And that was just because I was trying to find the margin of when to be able to film videos. And for a while there, that happened to be at either cross country practice or at dance, because my kids are at their practices 3 nights a week. And it was just really hard to me. I have since found time to sit in this room 1 day a week and get videos filmed. But cross country is ending, and I'm hoping that means that I will have even more time and margin to film more videos out, and hopefully get back to a place where I'm putting out more than 1 video a week for you guys. For the first 2 years of my channel, I was putting out 3 videos a week, and then it kind of went to 2 videos. Last year, it was none, because I had a rough pregnancy. And so I told myself that I know that I can commit to 1 video a week, and that's what I'm going to do. That was my commitment to you guys and to my channel, was to make sure that I had 1 video a week on Friday. And so far I've been able to do that. There's been a time or two where I have put it out late, but I still have gotten out my 1 video a week. So I'm hoping that with more time opening up for me here, at least for a little while, I can get more content out to you guys. So my son crushed this cross country season, which also happened to be his very first time running cross country. And I've just been so proud of him, because he decided one day it was what he wanted to do. We signed him up, and he did it, and he has put in all of the hard work, the effort, the commitment, and all of the things into this sport, and he has truly found something that he enjoys to do. And not only does he enjoy doing it, but he's just really naturally good at it. And so I think when a kid finds something that they enjoy and they happen to just be really good at it, it's really good for their confidence overall. So I've loved seeing that confidence being built in him. And also the team that he runs with is a university model private school. So it's university model being that some time is spent in the school doing work and some time is spent at home doing work. So it's kind of like part-time homeschool, part-time school, at least in the earlier years. And then in high school, they're going 4 days a week. but this school allows homeschoolers to participate on their sports. And so they are also a classical school. It's really nice because my kids are classically educated here at home. And so they are just kind of also, whenever they participate in that group, you know, they're just all kind of still learning about the same things. And my son's not on the outside of things that they're going to be talking about because he's also doing similar subjects when it comes to Latin and the logic and all of the things, reading similar books. So that's been really nice, is that it's a good group, and we've been loving it. So this is his last week of practices, and then on Saturday he has his state championship. So really excited about that. Can't wait. But I'm also really, really happy that the season is ending. And for him anyways, he's not going to do another sport until the spring, when he's hoping to do track and field. That is that. We had a kind of a slow start to the school year, just because we stagger our starts. My son starts first, and then me and the younger kids start, and we start with only CC, and then we kind of add in the rest of our school. So we had we staggered our start, but we have just moving and grooving, and it's been really good. We have my older two are using planners that are working out really well for them. My planning system's working out really well for me, and then the schedules and checklists, whatever, routines, all of those things that I have in place for myself and all of my kids have been working out really well. And so on that front, all of that stuff has been really good. The other thing that has been a big emphasis for us in our homeschool this year, that kind of just organically happened. It wasn't anything that I was initially seeking for it to happen, but it's been really nice, is the emphasis of life skills in our homeschool. And it kind of started off with cooking. My kids have had, especially my older two, have had a desire to learn to cook, to learn to bake. And so I've kind of just let them do that. They have been really great at being able to get into one of these cookbooks that we have, figure out what it is that they want to make. And as long as we have the ingredients, they make it. And the things that they have made over time, we will make the effort to make sure if they want to make it, we go and get those ingredients for them. They help me a lot with gardening, which is another thing that I've been doing this fall, is I planted a fall garden. Well, we planted a fall garden. We've been taking care of it together. So it's another life skill that my kids are working on. And then thanks to the morning classics, I don't know if my son has any interest, but if he does, he can totally do it. But my girls are definitely interested in learning sewing. So we've watched a couple of videos, and I've read the instructions for the handicraft in the morning classics. I got all of the things, so now we just need to start. So that will be our next life skill, is learning to sew. Let's see. Some books that my kids have read in quarter one. The bulk of my son's reading has already been completed. So that is Phantom Tollbooth, Little Britches, and Where the Red Fern Grows. He's currently reading The Hiding Place right now. And then I think they move into short stories, where mostly what they're going to be reading is short stories. So he's done that. He is working through his astronomy book, and that's been going really well. My 6th grader has read Night's Journey and Give Me Liberty, and she is starting, let's see, I have it here. The next 2 books she's reading, she's first going to read, we are doing George Washington, or we did George Washington last week in CC, so my kids are reading a couple biographies. So she's got this Meet George Washington book, and then my other daughter is reading The Story of George Washington. Those are really easy reads. And then for their novels, my 6th grader is reading, or soon to start actually, Susanna's Midnight Ride. And then my 4th grader is going to be reading Tolliver's Secret. So if you guys are interested in seeing all of the books that I have planned for them to read this year, go ahead and check out their specific curriculum videos that I have posted for them. I have one for every single one of my kiddos, from pre-K to 4th grade, 6th grade, and 8th grade. So if you want more about the books they're reading, go check that out. And let's see, what else did I want to talk to you guys about? Oh, so in one of my most recent videos, it's Let's Chat Classical. I told you guys that I was kind of wrestling through some things of like learning more about a classical education, what it means to teach my kids classically, what is a classical education. I had a general understanding of what it meant before I started homeschooling, because my husband bought me and I read through The Well-Trained Mind, but that was kind of it. And then the rest of my training as far as the classical educator has come from Classical Conversations. So the whole program is geared around the Dorothy Sayers Lost Tools of Learning essay, which is also Canon Press, I believe, Douglas Wilson, his whole educational part of ministry of a classical education is all based on Dorothy Sayers Lost Tools of Learning, which was never meant to be and is not a philosophy of learning. So it was interesting to me that a whole model, which is neoclassical, is being built around something that's not technically a philosophy of education. So I started to do some digging and some reading and some listening, and I just wanted to share with you guys some of the books that I read as I was digging around that I have enjoyed, that are really easy reads, because some other things I've listened to and have read are not very easy. But if you're also like interested in a classical education, maybe you're like me and you've been doing CC, or you've been doing what you think is a classical education, but you've also been interested in what Charlotte Mason is, and kind of like, are these two different things? Are they actually really the same? But the difference is Charlotte Mason is more aligned with a true classical tradition model of education versus neoclassical. So if you're wrestling with those things like I have been, some books that I would recommend to you that have been really helpful to me, actually two of them are by Karen Glass, and they are, I first read Consider This by Karen Glass, and then In Vital Harmony. I listened to them on a podcast. I want to get the book so I can have them in my hand and reread them. So I don't have them here to show you. But I read those two, and I do have one of the other books that I read when I first started homeschooling was For the Children's Sake. And I read it, but because I think I was so new, I don't know. It really took me rereading it to really understand the author and what she was talking about. And I think it became way more understandable for me the more that I've dug into a classical education and Charlotte Mason philosophy. So that book would be For the Children's Sake. That is a really, really good book. Highly recommend reading that one as well. Some podcasts that I have been listening to that have been really helpful to me as well is the first one is The New Mason Jar with Cindy Rollins. Really good if you want to learn about Charlotte Mason, her philosophy, her principles, and different things like that, as well as what does that look like in your homeschool. Another really good one this is the first one that I started listening to because a lot of their episodes have been recommended to me by some of my friends, like in CC. And as I listened to their podcast, it was kind of intriguing to me because they actually don't believe in the neoclassical model. They are classical tradition educators and lean Charlotte Mason. And that podcast is Scholay Sisters. Really, really have enjoyed their podcast. I actually went back to the beginning. I think their podcast started back in 2016, maybe 15, somewhere between 2015 and 2017. And I have been listening from way back then to current. I'm not in the current years yet because I'm still listening, but everything that all of the information from years ago that I've been going through and just learning from them has been incredible. Another really good one, and this is her podcast again, really good if you're kind of wrestling with neoclassical versus classical tradition, Charlotte Mason, how does this all, what does it all mean? The Commonplace is a really, really good podcast. Autumn Kern, I believe is her name, does a really, really great job at just explaining all of it.
There's a gnat.
Does a really, really good job at just going through Charlotte Mason's principles and the classical tradition and bringing it to a level that makes it more understandable, while also giving you resources to go and look for to read. I have a whole book list books that I want to read based off the Commonplace podcast and Caring class recommendations, as well as Scully Sisters. So some of the books are a little bit intimidating, like Norms and Nobility is one of them. That book looks intimidating, but I really want to get it and read it soon. That'll probably have to be a summer read. I don't know if I have the bandwidth to read that in the middle of the school year. And then the other podcast that has been really good, kind of for the same reasons as the Commonplace, is Classical Education. They are really trying to educate homeschooling parents and public educators, private educators, anyone who are teaching children classically or want to teach children classically on what is a classical education from the more classical tradition model and not neoclassical. And so they do a really good job of making that distinction as well, and just really helping you understand what it all means as an educator and how that can look in your homeschool, public school, or private school. So those have all been really, really great resources for me. The next books on my book list that I would like to read, these two are put out by Classical Academic Press, and you can buy them from their website or you can find them on Amazon. I will link to them to Amazon for you guys because I didn't write down the authors. But the first one is The Lost Seeds of Learning, and then The Liberal Arts Tradition. And then last but not least, I talked about this in my previous video because one of my last videos where I shared with you how I had bought the Charlotte Mason Ourselves for my kids. I really want to read through the Charlotte Mason home education series for myself. So that is also on my list. And like I said, I have a whole nother host of books on my list. I hope to share with you guys and update you with the books that I read and finish, as well as what's upcoming. So those are the ones that are upcoming right now. Lost Seeds of Learning and the Liberal Arts Tradition for sure. And then I'm hoping to get my hands on Home Education, I think it is, which would be volume 1 from Charlotte Mason. So that's all I have for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this homeschool update, plus enjoyed some of these resources that I'm sharing with you guys, and just a little bit more about what I'm wrestling with in my homeschool and how that came to be and how I'm working through it. So the other thing that I will say in that regards is, if you are curious in reading more about the neoclassical model, which, I mean, I've been doing this for the last few years, and it's great, but there's something different that I'm looking for. But if you're interested in reading more about classical education in regards to the neoclassical movement, Doug Wilson has a book, I think it's called Redeeming Classical Education. That's one book you could read. The Well-Trained Mind is another. And then any of the books put out by Lee Bortons would also be a good starting point for you. The only one that I read of hers is The Core. I actually had the question on my list to read this year, but I ended up crossing it out, and I've been reading some of these other books. So if you want to read more about the neoclassical movement, those are some that I would recommend to you. And that's just basically, they are basing the model off of the Dorothy Sayers Lost Souls of Learning essay. So I would say, if you are wrestling with some of those same things as me, or you just want to have an understanding for yourself, read those books. Read the Charlotte Mason series of books, as well as Norms and Nobility is a really good one that I've heard for classical education. And then The Lost Seeds of Learning and the Liberal Arts Tradition will be some others to read. And like I said, I have a whole book list, and I will continue to share those with you guys, if that's, just in case that's something that you're interested to in learning about. So like I was about to say, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like. If you aren't already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.